suffering be dispelled. Let all pain and suffering be dispelled.
Well, hello. It's very beautiful to be here with you. This is an exciting one, magicking up your decision-making power right up. So yeah, I've got lots to tell you about. One of the things I need to say, though, is because of a series of decisions or apparent decisions made, for expedience sake, I'm 10 miles from my intended destination, where I was to disport myself with my computer all ready to go, because I've been co-running a retreat in Glastonbury in the southwest of England. I'm heading to Oxford, where I had to be later, and I was going to do it there, but I miscalculated or underestimated the hugging goodbye time slot that happens at the end of those retreats, and when I left there anyway. So I'm at a place called Didcot Parkway, and the significance of that is the following. To get here, and the route that I took, which was pretty quick, I took what appeared to be a series of choices. I'm not going to go up that road, I'm going to go up this road. I'm not going to break the speed limit. That was actually quite intuitive because of Lee's place pretty much everywhere along the right. And if I don't make it back there in time, I'm going to stop at a service area where there's a full signal, which I can see on the screen on my car. And I saw the time going, and I was gauging it and moving at a pace, calculating, and I got to this one. It's about 10 miles out of Oxford. And why it's significant is because about 3 days ago, I was talking to somebody about, I don't even remember what it was. It was about the train ride that goes from Bath into London, and they're putting in an express route. And I said, well, doesn't it even stop at Didcot Parkway, which for some reason is like a joke for anybody who goes on that line. There's something about it's an old railway museum, and I don't know why it's become like an affectionate sort of joke name for people. They always laugh if you mention it. And I hadn't mentioned it myself for years. And I am actually at Didcot Parkway, and that wasn't apparently by design, certainly not mine. And the reason that this is significant, because when we're talking about making decisions, or we're going to be talking about it now, one of the things I want to introduce is the whole concept of destiny, and the idea that everything is already written, and all that we do, rather than make decisions, is learn to discern where the Tao, the path, because the Tao translates as the way, the path, where the Tao wants us to go. It's already written, and all we have to do is follow it. That's what following the Tao means. I need to preface this by saying that I can't say that that's the absolute truth. Nobody can. Nobody ever has been able to, or ever, I suggest, will be able to absolutely define how destiny works and whether there is free will or there isn't free will, whether we really make it up as we go along, whether we manifest it as we go along, as certain quantum physicists would have us believe, and a whole bunch of other people that jumped on that bandwagon and called it, you know, whatever it's called, law of attraction, all that come. Whether it actually is so, or whether in fact you have no choice at all, that the whole thing is absolutely pre-programmed. Hence why chiromancer can look in your hand and actually, and I've had this done, predict exactly what's going to happen and when. And I'm talking about, you know, like the Vedic ones that can read your palm and really know what they're doing, or the same with, and I would actually stress the Vedic aspects of this as well, astrology. And there are also certain, the Taoist astrology, but it's very rare to find one who knows how to do that, can predict your transit so accurately and what's going to actually happen through your life. How can that be if destiny is not already preordained. But again, as I say, you can't say that's the absolute truth, and it doesn't matter because I'm not proposing to you that it is. What I am going to propose, though, is that the way the Taoist cosmology works is that there are certain, apparently at least, and they've never been proven otherwise, immutable principles. And if you follow these principles as your template while you make your inquiry into how everything works, answers are provided as and when you need them that will satisfy your need for knowing whatever it is you need to know. And one of the first axioms is that reality, as we experience it, is actually a mirror to our beliefs. Now, this doesn't imply that you create your reality. It does imply that you create your version of reality. The Tao, life, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is a mirror to what you believe. So if you choose to adopt a certain existential stance from an experimental point of view, you will get results based on that stance. So if I choose to believe that destiny is all completely preordained, that the story has already been written, and that all I need to do is to follow the path as it unfolds before me by discerning rather than deciding where it wants me to go, it will work out for me, and so far so good. The adventure that occurs as a result is quite spectacular, relatively speaking, and certainly far more so than, and I have tried the other way as well, where you attempt to forge your route through the rational mind, or even through doing affirmations and manifesting tricks of visualizations and so on and so forth. Although there's an area that I'd like to discuss in a bit. In fact, I'll do it now, because what I think is, at the moment anyway, where I'm sitting, and from this perspective at least, that this manifesting business is actually prescience disguised, so that the subconscious mind, which knows everything that ever was, is, or will be forever and ever without limit throughout time and space, and the conscious mind serves merely as the filter to bring it down to a data bit stream that you can actually cognitively deal with and get on with your life. The subconscious mind is discerning what is about to occur, just as my subconscious mind discerned that I was going to be at Didcot Parkway, hence why it made the gag out of the blue like that. And it disguises it as you manifesting simply because your more surface mind believes that you have free will and that you manifest stuff. In fact, I suspect it's not. I think it is prescience and that we're discerning, and that was always going to happen. I would also like to caveat this with that it's a paradox, and it's just like you have waves and particles, and no one can rationally explain how they fit together. You have preordained destiny, and you have the capacity for creating that destiny as you go along somehow. It seems, I can't explain that rationally, any more than I can say that if destiny is preordained, you do seem to have the choice to focus on what you want to focus on. And as you focus on something, it grows. That's the phenomenon of quantum physics, of Taoist mysticism, that when you focus on something, it grows in your perception. And seeing as your perception is all you've got, and all that you can actually prove, that means your experience of reality shifts accordingly. So if I focus, while destiny is unfolding, on the beautiful and on the idea that everything that happens to me is an expression of absolute love, then my experience of reality and how reality subsequently performs will be mirrored. It will mirror that at me, and I will see the beauty. Life will be beautiful, and everything will occur as an expression of absolute love. Now, when I say beautiful, that doesn't imply that I'm not aware of the ugly as well. There's the yin and the yang, there's always the both. But my focus will be on amplifying the beauty. So whatever I focus on amplifies itself, it becomes huge. And then that seems to make your destiny look different to how it would have been. But it isn't really. It's just putting the camera angle and the lighting scheme differently. And you could also, and I often do, suspect that you're always programmed to do that, make that choice anyway. So that's when it starts getting into the realm of intellectual masturbation, so I'm not going to go there. What I was going to say, and wanted to say all that stuff initially, was that if, Sue, you can hear that my voice is not coming through clearly, please do just butt in and say something so that I'm not just left talking to myself for a whole load of time here, because that's always the fear when you're doing it on the phone. If you've never been to a satsang before, welcome. If you have been to a satsang before, welcome. And I mean that fully from the fullness of my heart. What satsang means, firstly, is coming together in authenticity without the artifice and pretense we are normally obliged to deploy as part of the social protocols that occur between us, which necessitate a certain amount of posturing, which is what all animals do. We don't have to posture here. We've got the luxury of being disembodied consciousnesses, as it were. Although when we do finally come together doing this live one day, which is something I do intend to do, going around the world doing a tour of satsangs and broadcasting as we go, I know from my experience of doing them live for 3-4 decades now, or 3 at least, that you do get to that same state quite quickly, but you still got to go through all the nonsense of the the posturing and all the rest of it before you all settle down. This way, it's fairly instant. Why do we do this? Because when 2 or more gather in truth without artifice and just allow pure consciousness to reign, a certain kind of synergy, a synergistic action, or reaction rather, alchemically occurs, and there's a sort of an exponential explosion of the rippling effect of your intention going out in all directions, multiplied by the amount of people that are with you. So here we are, we're 200 people gathered from all over the world, or gathered all over the world in every different time zone. Firstly, I must say that it's a privilege beyond description to be in this role right now, and thank you for affording it me. And I know from the feedback, which is quite voluminous and constant from attendees, that this is a collection of 200 extremely beautiful souls, evolved people with fine sensibilities. And when we gather in such company and we set up an intention, the power of this intention is multiplied exponentially, which will make the effect of it going out. And this is the bit I was saying before about how we do seem to be able to affect the way destiny works. In other words, the combined effect of our focus will make whatever we're each of us choosing to look at and be amplified exponentially rather than incrementally, as it would be when we were doing it on our own. That aside, it's also an intrinsic part of for humanity to connect like this. We will do it under the most bizarre, bizarre and flimsy excuses. You know, it could be sports, it could be a concert, it could be watching some silly TV program all of us around the world, or whatever it is. We will gather. We need to gather. It doesn't really matter what the reason is. We need to gather because we are all one family, and we need to know that. We get a lot of strength from that. We cannot survive without that. And when the excuse to gather is a refined focus of the spirit, then the effect of it in the moment and subsequently is really rather huge and powerful in my experience. So when we talk about magic, because that is, I love the term, it comes from ancient Persian, and it means, broadly speaking, the ability to shape the experience of reality by the intention of the mind. But it also got a fun aspect to it, hasn't it? Because we think of like magic tricks and magic, the stores that sell magic stuff, and life's magic, and actually it is. That's the point. This entire experience, or our perception of it, this entire manifest universe, is, when seen from the subatomic level, merely one huge, complex, infinite trick of the light. The prime cause of all this, the Tao, the God, the Roger the Rabbit, whatever you want to call it, isn't manifest. It's in the unmanifest state. The Taoists call it the undifferentiated absolute, or the uncarved block. And its role is merely to generate, I say merely, I mean that's the biggest role there is, it's to generate existence. As soon as it generates existence, there's a polarity set up between it, the one, and that which is manifest, i.e. there are now two. And this polarity, the ancient Taoist sages called yin and yang, which are relative terms relating to any pairs of opposites, dark and light, difficult and easy, murky or clear, cold and hot, empty and full, beautiful or ugly and beautiful, and so on and so on. And these two dance with each other in a cyclical motif. When the yin, the difficult, the contracted, the awful, clumsy, smelly, messy, reaches its zenith, the seed of the yang, the beautiful, bright, sweet-smelling, expansive force, is born, is planted. And when the zenith of the darkness is reached, the beginning of the light is starting. By the same token, when the light reaches the zenith of its brightness, is when the first seed of darkness is sown. So that really at midday, when the sun's at its brightest, you know that the darkness is already coming. When you get to midsummer and the beautiful warmth of it and the brightness of it all, you know that that's when the winter is actually beginning. And rather than lament that, you welcome it, you embrace it, you roll with it. You don't cling to the bright, because you know it's going to turn to the dark, and therefore you'll end up being disappointed and confused. You give thanks for it, but you also give thanks for the dark that's coming too. You know that you're going to learn huge amounts going through the dark, especially if you choose that, and that you'll come out of the dark into the light again, feeling bigger and better than you had before you went in it. And this isn't just about winter and summer. This is about through phases in your life, which some are very quick, some it's quick cycles, some are slow cycles, and so on. What we do know is then that this is another axiom, that when you intend an outcome, that outcome will be made manifest for you. Destiny will provide that outcome. It was always going to anyway, but it will do so coloured and shaped and designed according to your intention. But you can't define it too clearly. Well, I say that, you can do whatever you want. You can define it really clearly and precisely. The more precise you make your intention in terms of the details, the more psychic power it requires to support that intention. And the game, or the art, is to make your intention as broad-based as you possibly can. So, for example, if you are really keen to increase the flow of money in your life, which, as we all know, most of us are most of the time, because it's an expensive life, and even if you're not greedy or driven by the desire for wealth, you need more all the time, because everything's costing more all the time, simply because the resources are running out, i.e. are more costly. If you look at what's behind that intention to have more money, it's to feel a certain way. So presumably you want it because you want to feel more relaxed. You want to feel safer in the world. You want to know that you're going to be warm in the cold weather and you're going to be cool in the hot weather. You know that you want to be able to wear respectable looking clothes so that people don't look at you askance. And not because you're vain necessarily, but because that just makes life a bit irksome and you want things to be easy and smooth. Yes, you want things to be easy and smooth. It's probably the underlying reason for wanting money, more money. So you make the intention to generate a state for yourself wherein you feel very relaxed, very safe, very warm, or your temperature is nicely regulated, come what may, and you feel that life is easy and flowing and rather seamless. and that gives you a lovely ease and a grace about yourself. So that state is the state that you manifest by intention. And there's obviously no real barrier to that other than your own self-sabotaging kind of self-interference. If you intend to manifest a state of being and you visualize yourself enjoying that state of being, if only fleetingly, in fact fleetingly is better as long as it's done frequently, you just see your face looking as you would look when you felt totally relaxed and eased off and safe and sound, it will manifest. You will manifest that state. Why wouldn't you? It's you. It's your state. You're in command of it. You're giving the command to your subconscious and it produces that for you. The magic part is that once you're in that state, all the material resources required, plus all the personnel support, i.e. the people that you need around you, will be shunted into position spontaneously by the underlying pattern of events to produce exactly the very highest possible best result for you, which incorporates all the things that you need and want. And that really, in a nutshell, is the essence of Taoist magic. Wu Wei, if you like. They call it Wu Wei, effortlessly manifesting what it is you need. Whether if you apply it to sort of more sort of spiritual materialism, like, you know, I'm going to manifest a parking space, I'm going to manifest 50 grand, I'm going to manifest the love of my life, and so on and so forth. I've done it in my life earlier on. I was playing around with that kind of level of it. And you get it, but it doesn't necessarily fulfill you because you're still stuck in the externals. You're still looking to the externals to satisfy the apparent void in the soul. Well, the higher level, or the more advanced level, is that you feel that, you realize that the soul has no void in it. The soul is already complete, and you allow everything you need to come to you because you don't really need it. You don't need the extra. You don't need to have anything to show you that you're okay. You're already okay. So that's quite a radical kind of shift of the way of doing things. If we are free to choose, or rather if reality is a mirror to what we believe, an affirmation that I really love, that I've been playing around with and doctoring and changing and honing over decades, strangely. I just had a little shift with it, is that I'm free to believe whatever I choose. I already have it all and have nothing to lose. And you can't lose nothing anyway, can you? Because it doesn't exist. How can you lose it? That's ambiguous. But I'm free to believe whatever I choose. I already have it all and I have nothing to lose. It's a beautiful affirmation, and it opens the heart to the sense of embracing all of worldly life. It's all yours already. You know, you're loaning it to lots of other people, sharing it with loads of other people, but it's yours already. You are the queen or the king of your domain, your global domain. And once you kind of come from that place, you can enjoy being the king or the queen, playing the role of the pauper at times if you want, or playing the role of the insecure person who doesn't know quite which way to go, and so on and so forth. Then we come to this decision-making process that occurs. First of all, energetically, on a superficial organic level, it's the gallbladder which actually supports the function of decision-making. The gallbladder is what gives you the power to make the decision, or actually in this case really, be able to discern. And when the gallbladder is overheated, is when you're trying to make the decision, you're trying to create the reality, you're trying to forge the path with your will, and it overheats, and that prevents you being able to be sensitive and humble and quiet enough to discern where the path is wanting you to go. So regulating the gallbladder energy is an important thing to do, because it makes the whole process of seeing what to do a lot easier and more relaxed. Now, the way to do that, there are many ways to do that, but one very simple way to do that is to drink a glass of water with half a lemon squeezed in, preferably warm water that's cooled down from boiling, but normal water, you know, normal room temperature is fine, at least once a day, preferably twice a day. Over a period of 3 weeks, you will feel the gallbladder heat subsides. You get less headaches, you get less tendency to try and make things happen and try and control things, and much more willingness to be acquiescent and discern the path and where it wants you to go. The ability to know what's good for you and what isn't is provided by the small intestine. The small intestine does that with the food, but it also does it with all the information. When the small intestine is overheated through indigestion or bad eating habits and so on, it causes an inability to know what it is you actually want. To regulate the small intestine energy, again, there are many ways to do this, but one way is to look at the edge of your palm, the little finger side, and to press in where the wrist bracelet intersects with the edge of the palm, and then rub the finger up about a centimetre towards the little finger along the edge of the palm, and you'll fall into a little indentation there. And if you press that indentation, you'll press the bone at the side of the palm there. It will be quite tender, but pleasantly so. And you do the same on the other side. It will, if you do it 2 or 3 times a day for 3 days, it will enhance your ability to know what's good for you and what isn't. You'll know it quicker and easier, less confusion in the mind. Then we come to this strange phenomenon of the mind, because of yin and yang. You have your deepest, most self that knows everything, the part of you, the soul, that is, which mechanically finds its expression or its existence through the subconscious mind. According to the Taoist anatomy, the subconscious mind is located, you can't locate the subconscious mind obviously, but the way they do it, the psychospatial reference for it is at the base of the midbrain, so right at the top of the upper brain stem, where the spine inserts, in the middle of the spine inserts into, or the core of the spine inserts into the base of the brain. And it's a matter of sort of feeling where that is. That's where the still small voice is heard from. And that's the part of you that knows everything. What we do here is, in the Taoist technique, in the meditation, is we pull the mind back even what feels like behind that, so that it's nestling up against the rear interior wall of the skull. In fact, what that's actually doing is putting you into the midbrain region, into the sort of pretty much the base of the midbrain region. It's just a hard place to feel the midbrain, so if you slam it all the way into the back, you can feel it much better. We're just easy, we cope with it better that way. I'll come back to that in a minute though. What happens is, because of yin and yang, you've got this pure consciousness, the deep you that does know what to do all the time. It knows every single step to take along the path. Because of yin and yang and polarity, there will automatically, therefore, be another voice in there that's arguing with it or asking questions. What do I do? What should I do? Should I do this or do that? An example, before I got this DVT in the leg, which led them to believe I had cancer, which fortunately turned out not to be. And the reason I found out it wasn't is because I was in the national health, the public health sector, getting the DVT checked, and they, the ones that diagnosed the cancer, and convinced it was. I suddenly woke up out of that trance, went to my private doctor. He sent me to another, the other guy, the specialist, and within 2 days of that, I was given the all clear of the test, and really, quite exhaustive test, and bang, done. Now, before I got the blood clots, I was thinking, why am I spending £160 a month, or whatever it is, $200, whatever it is a month, on private health insurance? I mean, I'm totally fit as a fiddle. There's nothing wrong with me. Do I really need to do this? And the deep inner voice went, yeah, keep doing it. It's fine. Just keep paying. That's worth it. But there was the other voice going, do I really need to do this? Now, that's the interesting bit. It's that voice that's so interesting. And it's that voice that seems to lead us astray. And it certainly has me. And it's compulsive. It's like there's no way around it. It wants to do something that's totally against what the subconscious mind knows is harmonious. And you do it. That's what Freud might have called the id, the uncontrollable, primal self. I would also then say that was all destined too, and that everything works out for the best in the end, providing you can transcend your preferences for messy over tidy. for rather tidy over messy. It will lead you where you need to go, and everything will work out for the best. Given half the chance, everything does work out for the best. That's also a basic tenet of Taoist magic. Given half the chance, everything will work out elegantly. It's only us that interferes with it and misinterprets what's happening, and jumps to conclusions when it starts going bad. It was all going wrong, instead of going, that's just a little turn from yang to yin. Roll with it, and it will swing back to the yang again. So that is, in essence, the approach that I'm proposing for this evening's session. And if that all feels okay with you, and actually that was cosmetic because I'm not going to ask you to put your answers in if it does or doesn't, forgive me for that bit of bullshit, I think it's time to begin the actual ceremony, so to speak. So relax your body, by which I mean close your eyes, take a breath, breathe out with a sigh and go, and do it again, breathe in, breathe out, go, and again, breathe in, breathe out with a sigh. And as you sigh like that, you'll notice the energy, the fractious energy of the brain, and the noise and the heat in the chest and so on, tends to just slide downwards and settle where it really belongs, in the lower part of the body, kidney area and so on. You get a feeling of just encouraging that, the sense of allowing all the heat from the head, from all that thinking, to drop down into the lower part of the body. And soften the muscles of the face. There's nothing to face up to right now except your own bliss and joy. Just let all the muscles of the face relax so that the expression slides off the front of your skull there. And relax the muscles at the side of the head and the back of the head, at the base of the neck, the muscles at the side of the neck and the throat. And let that relaxation continue spreading downwards through your chest, out to your shoulders, down your arms, to your hands, your fingers, to the shoulder blades at the back, between the blades, the middle back, round to the sides, under the armpits, lower down in the chest, and then the upper abdominal area, and the sides, and the middle back area, and the lower back area, and then the hips and the belly, and the mid-belly, the lower belly, the pelvic floor area, the genital area, the buttocks, the thighs, calves, shins, feet, toes. Let everything soften. And rather than slump with that, imagine that someone is pulling the crown of your head by virtue of an invisible silver thread that they've attached there, upwards towards the ceiling. And that causes the back of your neck to grow longer and the chin to subtly drop down towards your chest. Feel this lengthening tendency to originate in your coccyx at the very tip of the spine at the bottom, and get the sense like a snake being charmed out of its basket, that your spine is sort of very subtly, discreetly unfurling itself. This feeling that the crown of the head is naturally urging itself upwards to meet the heavens. And they call this the raising of the spirit of vitality. Simultaneously, let the hips be really heavy and grounded and seated fully where you are. Let your hip bones slide away from each other so that your base becomes broader. Drop your shoulders and at the same time broaden across the upper thoracic region between the blades so that you feel much broader, more able to bear reality, to bear yourself, and to bear yourself with dignity and nobility, to amplify which, very subtly raise the breastbone slightly upwards and slightly forwards. So the upper part of the chest is moving diagonally upwards and forwards, very subtly. It's a subtle gesture of rising up to all that is beautiful within and around you. And it gives you a regal air when the breastbone is slightly raised and pushed slightly forwards, it gives you a regal air. It gives you're the king or the queen of your realm. Let the breathing continue to flow freely. Don't hold the breath. And slow the tempo of the in-breath and the out-breath down, at least by half. And as the breath slows down, regulate it, let it become even in its tempo. And also regulate the quality. Let the breathing be very fine and silken, very smooth. And as you start to appreciate the smoothness of the breath, also appreciate how your mind, the tone of your mind, is also becoming silken and smooth. The feeling tone inside the consciousness is smooth. Have a sense of the chest area, the breastbone area, becoming slightly more fluid. Imagine or give the command to your chest area, your breastplate, to soften up a bit. Imagine that your breastplate is a pair of sliding doors which open to the sides, each to their own side, to reveal at the core of your chest, deep inside, what could be described as an otherworldly rose, one so beautiful, so fragrant, so lush in its colour, that the essence of it can't help but radiate ubiquitously all around your body and all around your person, forever and ever without limit. And as if it's exuding a sweet fragrance, unlike anything your olfactory nerves have ever encountered or had to deal with before. So beautiful is it. And there's a subtle rose gold glow emanating from you in all directions from the core of your chest. You don't have to do anything to make this happen. You merely have to allow it. And this is your love. This is your beauty, your gorgeous, unique essence radiating for the benefit of everyone. And at the same time, this openness of the heart, so to speak, is making you available to receive the love, the pure, gorgeous essence of everyone else in our circle right now. And not only from everyone in our circle, this is the most immediate, but everyone they know and everyone you know and everyone they all know, and so on until it's everyone on the planet, because at this precise moment, there are no doubt countless millions of people sending, cognitively sending beautiful thoughts out, wishes, prayers, people meditating of all persuasions, or people who aren't even meditating, who are just kind and just emitting a good glow. And so all the love, all the beautiful essence that's being radiated consciously or unconsciously around the planet now, you're receiving it in, you're available to it. As you breathe in and you breathe out, allow yourself the joy, the privilege of connecting with all humanity through this medium of love. You're giving it out, you're bringing it in, you're giving it out, you're bringing it in. And this exchange is refining the essence for everyone. It's becoming more and more pure and refined with every breath you take. You don't have to think about that. It goes on its own. Unless this becomes a little bit top-heavy in terms of focus, become aware also of your belly button area. That's your lower part, because that's your physical anchor. That's the area that holds you into the material plane, which is where we are. Next comes the big shift, and this is to do with where you're positioning yourself, front or back, inside your body. Normally, you're drawn to the front of your body. It's the part of you you identify with most commonly. It's the constructive part of you, the drama reference part, the tension in the solar plexus for resisting what life's bringing to you, the fear of it all, so on. The closing down of the heart, which is to protect you from pain, emotional pain. The noise in the front of the brain from discussing life with yourself incessantly, those two, at least two voices going off at each other all the time, the debate. And you reference yourself to all that noise in the front of you by habit, because the world going on outside of you, which is going on in the front of you, according to your eyes and ears and so on, your nose, is compelling, it's fascinating as it's meant to be. So it draws you forward in your skin. That the art of the master is to drop back inside instead, because your back is where all your strength is, the spine, the muscles running down either side. The back is strong, the front is weak. The back is hard, if you like, the protected rather. The front is soft and vulnerable. And not only that, when you drop back inside, you connect with your own past. The yin and the yang of it, the difficult and the easy of it, the horrible and the beautiful of it. That's your wealth. That's your strength. That's where you come from. So you're connecting with that. You're being supported by that. And in a different dimension, but all around that, you have your ancestral lineage stretching back, way back in time. And the wealth of all your ancestors, all their knowledge, all their experience, and remembering that when we come into the eternal moment, as we're progressively doing now, limitless linear time ceases to exist. So the ancestors are still here. They're still alive, if you like. And you sinking back like this and connecting with the power of them activates them a bit. And it's not like all of them are going to be resonating with you and vice versa, but there are definitely a few stretching back through time with whom you have great resonance. And your subconscious mind is well aware of this. And these ancestors are rooting for you. It's only by virtue of all your ancestral lineage that you're here in the first place. It's a very sacred process. And the combined energy of all your own past, your wealth of experience, and the combined wealth of the experience and the care of all your ancestral lineage creates or generates what the Taoists call your guardian entity, or your guardian angel in our terms. And this is an entity that's much, much bigger than the physical form, yet co-spatial with it. And this entity protects you. It protects you from all harm. It protects you from danger. It protects you from falling down the pit. It keeps you safe. And remember, reality is a mirror to what you believe. So subscribe to the belief, just experimentally. Nobody's saying any of this is ultimate truth. To the fact that there is this guardian angel co-spatial with you, this huge entity protecting you, and that's how it will be. And what is it protecting you against? It's protecting you against the dangers, the potential dangers of destiny. And destiny is a force, so to speak, that is coming at you, metaphorically speaking, from the front. This is what you're facing. It's coming at you from the front. Of course, it's really coming at you from all angles and every direction, but for these purposes, it's coming at you from the front. And it's a force that we would normally, when identified with the noisy, vulnerable part of ourselves in the front, have great fear of. We tend to see it as our nemesis, our enemy that we have to outwit, because it's the one that ultimately is going to destroy us with death. Well, in fact, we can completely shift that belief right now and see destiny as our friend, as our best friend. Destiny really is, it's the path. And loving the path, being in love with the path, is the love of all loves. That's the key to everything. Everything working is to love the path you're on, to trust it, to roll with it rather than resist and fight it. So see destiny as your friend and start training your mind to see death as coming home, as a beautiful event, not a horrible event, even if there is a little pain on the way there. And it completely alters your relationship with where you stand. So see destiny now as this beautiful force. You have the power to do that. It's your choice. See destiny coming towards you with a beautiful, beautiful face. And it's the angel of destiny. And the angel of destiny meets with the guardian, and they embrace. There's nowhere else for them each to go. The guardian's pushing you forwards, and the destiny is coming towards you. The two of them must meet, and they embrace. And before this embrace, there's a negotiation occurs, or as this embrace is happening, there's this eternal negotiation occurring. Be kind to my boy or my girl here. Make sure they're okay. Treat them softly. Treat them well. Let life be easy for them. Let the path show itself clearly. Show yourself clearly. Let them be able to discern what they need to do next, and to do it elegantly and sensitively and graciously and gracefully and benignly, so the effect is magnificent for everybody. And the guardian and the angel of destiny make this negotiation. They agree on it because both are mere aspects of the one Tao that only wants your perfect happiness. And this negotiation agreed from the embrace of the two somehow melds them into the one being, with a sort of subtle explosion internally, which occurs approximately where your thymus is in the top of your chest, and bounces back into the shoulder blade area, and down into the hips, and down into your heels, and bounces back up into your throat, and then settles in the chest comfortably. Meanwhile, you are progressively leaning back further and further inside. You're leaning back into your own shoulder blades, into the front of your spine, into your hips, into your sacrum, and tilt your head slightly back and let your mind slide along the floor of the cave up there until it's nestling like a wee Buddha with your face on against the interior rear wall of the skull, the back wall of the cave, perfectly silent and still there. There's no noise in the front of the brain. And you're leaning back inside your body so that the heart area is right up there in the front of you. The solar plexus area is right up there in the front of you. And you're in command of it rather than it in command of you. Now, breathe in and draw the breath all the way up the rear of your spine from coccyx to crown. Then breathe out and send the breath down the front of the spine, behind your face, behind the chest, behind the belly, down to your perineum, where it hooks backwards and ready to go up again as you breathe in. So you breathe in, and it's not really the breath, but it's the sensation of breathing, drawing something up the rear of the spine and then sending it down the front again in a loop. And as the energy travels up the rear of the spine, see it as a fine stream of light. As it goes down the front, again, see it as a fine stream of light. And each time it ascends, it refines your essence, it refines who you are. Each time it descends, it purifies your essence, it purifies who you are of all the fear and the greed and all the other stuff that gets in the way. You're breathing in and it's refining you, you're breathing out and it's purifying you. Not only you, but your entire energy field, and in fact, eventually the entirety of existence. Just let yourself go silent now for a moment. And picture yourself standing on the pathway, and it's an avenue of trees that stretches like the yellow brick road off into infinity. And it can be a yellow road if it's a lovely colour, a golden path. See it golden. And it's lit most beautifully. And the way it's lit makes it seem incredibly warm and inviting. And the trees lining each side of it are lush and green, verdant. There's a sense of fecundity in the air. The air feels pregnant with limitless possibilities. There's the sound of birds, very delicate sound, much harmony, giving a little sonic massage to the top of your head. The air is warm, not too warm. It's very comfortable on your skin. Your body feels relaxed. And there's no rush. There's just a sense that you're impelled forwards along the path. And as you walk, there's a sense of drag, a little subtle sense of drag, a bit of resistance, because of the fact that your forward thrust will always meet with some resistance, because it's going to shift things, it's going to change things, Even the air is at 14 pounds per square inch of pressure. So whatever you're walking towards, there will be some displacement which causes a bit of drag, but your forward thrust is stronger than that. It's not a crazy strength. It's not the kind of strength that makes you rush down the path, but there is no rush. Destiny is all unfolding in its own time. You can do it slowly and smoothly without really any effort at all. Moving through the resistance, gently moving forward. And as you walk, there's a feeling of weightedness to the lower part of the body. It's not a nasty feeling, it's a reassuring feeling. Your legs feel powerful, and the connection between your feet and the ground is palpable, it's strong, and this weighting in the lower part of the body gives you gravitas. It gives gravitas to you being here. The upper part of your body feels really light as you walk and free. The chest feels surprisingly light and relaxed. The belly likewise really relaxed and light. The mind completely clear. You're sitting in the back of the skull and you're perfectly calm and relaxed. Your very essence feels refined and pure. There's just no interference. And the voices that normally get in the way are quite quiet now. You can hardly hear them. A distant traffic noise maybe, no more than that. Your forward thrust is so clear and so strong that no interference from yourself or others can actually get in the way of it. However, there's such a humility and with that a flexibility about you and a suppleness and a willingness to adapt that just like water, if an obstruction appears on the path, you know that you will flow around it with a minimum of effort. It's another axiom that you do everything with the minimum of effort, not the most amount. Just like water, it finds its way around things. You just keep going inexorably onwards. And there's a sense that there's a sort of a destination. There's a kind of a feeling of some huge, bright, golden glow way up ahead. What looks like to be so long in the distance that it will be right at the end of your current lifetime. And in fact, that's what it is. That destination, that massive glow, is home. That's where you're headed for, eventually. But until then, you've got this glorious path to wander along. And it will be taking its twists and turns and its rises and falls. And it will be going through its shady bits because it can't all be sunlit. And it will get a bit cold sometimes. And there'll be moments of feeling a bit hungry and then others of being a little bit too full. And as you walk along, you know, you can see it, you can intuit that there'll be beautiful company at some times and there'll be disturbing company at others, and that there'll be great harmony in your relationships with those you wander along with at times and then disharmony at others. But you do know that all of these variations are merely the one presence, the path itself, manifesting itself as with different faces to make it more interesting. Because if you had to walk along this path, this great thoroughfare forever and ever with no dynamics to the adventure, it would just become boring. And nobody likes that, especially not you. So you're really willing to embrace. You see this in your face. You can see it in your body language. You have such strength and power and grace about you now that you're willing to embrace whatever comes along, to love it, not resist it, and welcome it as an expression of absolute love, even the most apparently horrific, because you know that one will turn into its opposite, and all of it eventually leads you to the beautiful destination. And the closer you get to the destination and the more you embrace it, the more its essence, its wonderful golden quality, spills into your experience because you're opening to it. And that gold, beautiful light that it's exuding is the essence of wealth and abundance and success and fun and companionship and love and joy and all the things that your soul yearns for as you move through the great thoroughfare of life. And it will appear that you have to make choices along the way. It will look like there are crossroads, but the map is already laid out. It's just that you can't see it yet. The path has already been created. It's just that you can't see where it goes because of the scenery. But it's there. Your destination calls you, and all the things that are meant to happen to get you to that point are already planned out and mapped out on the road. You just don't see them yet. And you know that they're all benign, even if they're a bit uncomfortable sometimes. So you feel completely relaxed as you walk, completely confident. And in your mind, the only thought is, I know what to do. I know what to do. I know what to do next. I do know what to do. And you can visualize yourself sitting down and taking a little rest under a tree, and it's very warm. You fish into your pocket and take out a pendulum. That's something I do often. And you ask it, do I go left or do I go right at this fork in the road? And it will tell you yes for right maybe and no for left. And you don't have to think about it. And you're not doing anything bizarre. All you're doing is allowing your subconscious to reveal to you what it already knows. And it already knows it because the map's already there. And this takes an incredible pressure off you. No longer do you need to make decisions. All you have to do is to discern where the Tao is leading you. And the stillness and serenity that you feel as this person, the pilgrim, walking down the path, is infectious, it's contagious. And through the benevolence of your heart, your natural generous spirit, you're radiating this serenity, this comfort, this joy, freely to everyone in this circle, and by extension to everyone in your life and everyone in everyone's life. You're radiating this benign energy for the benefit of all humankind, so that by and by, everyone on the planet starts to rely more on their intuition, more on the inner guidance. And as they do that, the result will be more harmony in the world, more ease, more cooperation, more collaboration, and wonderful things will occur, perhaps even a new enlightenment. And with that thought in your mind, and the sense that you can be completely confident that over the coming days and weeks, you'll notice your whole approach to making choices changes. You'll notice that by sinking back inside rather than lurching forwards and staying there, by sinking back and remaining in the back as much of the time as possible, and somehow feeling into the base of your midbrain, you will be guided every single step of the way, and that there's nothing to fear. There's no way of going wrong. Whichever way you step, you will arrive at your destination eventually, and the process of getting you there will be glorious and beautiful. And with that thought of glory and beauty in your heart, bring yourself back into the so-called everyday state. But don't lurch forward. You are allowed to stay back in the back of you. You're allowed to. And as long as you keep your heart open, you'll remain connected to everyone you love in a much deeper way than if you were stuck in the front of you. Life will become quieter for you internally. And as a result, you'll be able to appreciate the sound of the world so much more and all that that implies. And now I will hand us over briefly to Sue, who will explain how to ask questions or leave comments.
Hi everyone, I'm just checking you can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Paul said, following the last satsang series, I have had definite results in at least 2 areas. However, what has been described as my doppelganger has been seen on the material plane. Could this be so, or am I being fanciful and naive?
Well, Paul, it's really, really, really hard to say, because I had experiences over the years where I'd be in Ibiza and suddenly, spontaneously found my mind or my spirit in Wales, in Pembrokeshire. You know how that happens. You'd be thinking of somewhere, or it feels you're just suddenly there in your heart. And got an email from a good friend of mine who lived just down the road from where I saw myself, saying, I just saw you going past on the road. Now, whether that was a coincidence and they saw somebody like me, I don't really know. And I've had a few things like that. So it is quite possible that was the case. And I think, why not? Let's go with that. Why not? Let's be romantic. Let's take a chance and say, yeah, that was your doppelganger being seen. Brilliant. Well done, you. Why not? If it turned out to be wrong, it doesn't matter. You can always say, so what, I was wrong about that. Revise the picture. But, yeah, why not? I love that idea. And good to know it had a good effect. I'm really glad. Thanks for saying.
Okay. Nikki in South Africa says, for many years I have felt I needed to make a career change, even going so far as giving my clients notice, but I didn't follow through.
Yes. Well, because destiny didn't want you to. It wasn't time for you to follow through. I've often gone through similar myself. Kind of shift the angle, shift the focus, go there, go, do this, do that. And it didn't work that way. It went a different way. It's got its own head, its own mind, and our role is to follow that. You already know what's coming for you, and when the urge to move into something new grows so strong you can't resist it, is when you follow it. The soul will make sure of that. And what happened there was probably you being prescient of what was going to come at some point in the future, where you will make a career change, that I can see. And it might even be sooner than you think now. But the way to encourage a change, if you feel you want one, is actually first to really love what's happening now, including any frustrations and feelings of blockages that may be involved in it. And the way you do that is like auto-suggestion. You have to say, look at what's going on around you, including the bits you don't like, and go, I love this, I love this, I love this. And if you say it a few times, you actually start feeling it. That opens the door. And once you can learn to love what's happening all the time, even when it's really shit, it will love you back, and it will leave the stage and allow the new sort of scenes to come on and play out for you much quicker than if you're fighting it.
Mike says, hey Doc, you seem to have no problem moving around the world, deciding where and who to live with. How is that done?
Oh, Mike, that's nice of you to ask. This has really been an experiment that's accelerated over the last 3 years, but not by design. It was just through expedience. Series of events just made it seem obvious that this would be a great time to experiment in having absolutely no base anywhere and just see where the wind blew me. Tempered by such considerations as having to coordinate that with projects and work, and because my work is so much part of my life, so intrinsic to it, I can roll with the projects and the collaborations and the events I've got to do, and let that determine where I'm going to be when, more or less. And because I'm fortunate, I mean, it's a build-up of good karma, I'm sure. I've helped a lot of people over the years, and as a result of that, I've got a lot of beautiful friends everywhere, and who I really just love having me come to stay. So I'm incredibly fortunate in being able to go pretty much anywhere I want to on the planet, and know that I'm going to have a whole string of wonderful people to hang out with. And I do love hanging out with wonderful people. That for me is the greatest joy there is. And so if I don't anticipate where I'm going to be, if I don't get anxious about it and project into the future, if I can desist from that by staying in the back of me and just trusting everything to work out elegantly, it always does. It's remarkable. So what I've done is made the experiment I was describing earlier, this whole template for magic, if you like, and I've just intensified it. I've thrown my whole life into it just to see what happens and where it will lead me. And fascinatingly, I've become less and less bothered about where it does lead me. There's less and less sense of it has to be this or it has to be that. It's such a joy rolling with the Tao, and it does look after me really well. I don't have any rush to find out where it's going to be, because everything's fine as it is. And that, I don't know, I could tell you, I could talk about it for hours, but maybe another time we'll do a special webinar to talk about I'm actually writing a book about it at the moment called Taoist Freefall, The Art of Living Dangerously. And it's really about these last 3 years and what happened in it. It's shaping up very nicely. But hopefully we'll do some kind of webinar. We are going to start experimenting with live video feeds, which obviously ain't going to work if I'm in a car, which is the one limitation I can foresee. But if I'm on the phone, I mean. But generally speaking, we'll be able to do it. Hopefully, when we've got our head around the technology and make it work smoothly. We want to try out one to do like a free session just to try out and see how it's all working. Maybe so we could make it about that. How do you do that? Letting go and just talking about, maybe without being self-indulgent, just somehow talking about these 3 years, because it has been quite an amazing trip. But I do really want to share with everybody in the right way at some point.
Sounds good.
Mm.
Rebecca in Australia says,
Yeah.
do I find decision-making difficult due to an incongruence between the head and the heart, and can this lead to addiction?
Lead to addiction? That's a jump there. Hey Bex, how you doing? Lovely to hear from you out there in Australia. Yeah, you could call it head and heart if you want to. I find that a little bit cliched and a bit misleading, that dichotomy. I don't really think it's head and heart. I never really found that one very helpful. Your subconscious already knows what you're going to do. If you're faced with an apparent dilemma, your subconscious already knows the way you're going to go. There isn't really an option. The path's already laid out. The more you relax and trust it, the more it will lead you. Now, the way that you do that, rather than by thinking about it, is by following your energy, or if you like, following your fascination, like a child. So take yourself back to when you were 4 years old and you felt an urge to play in the garden, and you wanted to run over to the left, and then you wanted to run over to the right, and then you wanted to run backwards, and then you wanted to run forwards. And there wasn't any rhyme or reason to it, apparently. It was just an urge to run with this and run with that, go here, go there. Where it feels warmer, you roll with that. Where it feels cold, you tend to shy away from it. And it's like that. So if you want to call that the heart, call it the heart. I call it the energy, which is actually more palpable down in the lower belly. So it's like feeling it in your waters. That's why they call it that, because it's where your kidneys are and so on. You feel it in the lower belly, this urge to go, well, I want to do this, and you roll with it. And then be sensitive, though, at all times, and stay in the back of you so that you're aware of what's going on. You're mindful. And you'll notice if it suddenly says, no, stop now, turn around, go to the left, go to the right. So you might be drawn towards a person, for example, and you really feel that pull towards them. You go with it, roll with it, lovingly, respectfully, with an intention for the highest good to occur for all people concerned. You stay in the back of you so that you're real rather than caught up in the illusion of self. And the energy is taking you towards them, and you move and you move and you move, and you get there, and then it might say, no, go the other way. And then you go, okay. Respectfully, you move the other way. And that's how it's done, rather than trying to plot it and then rehearse it and then do it, like act it out. And that is really probably not the most efficient way of going about it, certainly not energy-wise. So yeah, follow the energy, follow the fascination, mindfully, respectfully, with an intention for the highest good to occur for everybody, and that's what will occur. Get that one, but listen to it again when there's the replay, so that you remember that, or maybe write it down and just work with that, and you'll find it will answer all your questions for you. Last question.
Okay, the last one is from Sarah. How can I let go of bad decisions I've made? I don't seem to be able to, and keep wishing I could go back and change things.
Well, Sarah, that regretting is when the lung energy is a bit weak. When the lung energy is weak, it draws us backwards into the past, but in an unhealthy way, not in a positive way. To be psycho-emotionally healthy, to be in a psycho-emotional state of balance, there has to be full acceptance and appreciation and thanks for everything that has gone before, everything that has come before until this point. And I know this from the experience I've had recently, where I thought I was facing potentially imminent dying. I found myself spontaneously, for the first time ever actually, saying thank you for everything that had gone before, everything that's gone before, the nasty bits and the beautiful bits, all of it, because that's my wealth. And if I'm up to date and I'm grateful for everything that's gone before, if it's time to leave the body, I can only leave it with great gratitude rather than with, oh, that wasn't fair, I didn't get my full deal there. There was more I wanted to do. It's like you thank the life for giving you everything that's been up until now, trusting that everything was as it's meant to be because it was all destined. Destiny loves you. The angel of destiny loves you. And therefore, every single decision you've made, especially the ones that seem to land you up in mess, were the right decisions. You just can't see quite why yet. But having the trust that that's so, it will show you quite quickly why. That will be the next phase. So if you want, you can say to your angel of destiny, okay, come on, accelerate this up a little bit to show me why I made those apparently wrong decisions. Show me why they were leading me to, and what it was that they were leading me to, because I trusted it's something beautiful. And that has to be the stance to adopt as an experimental gesture to see what shifts as a result. I would suggest listening back to this satsang when the replay comes through carefully, Sarah, and you'll hear all the clues you need to help you through that one. Well, everybody, Sue for producing it, everybody for being here, the universe for facilitating our presence in general, for everyone that's on the planet that makes this such an amazingly rich and varied experience, but especially to all of you, my family, as we sit here all the way around the world. Thank you so much for being here. And my full intention throughout that was for you all, everybody, including me, to flower exponentially now into the fullness of their full, amazing, unbridled, unadulterated magnificence, and for life to reflect that in the most spectacular way. This is going to be quite a week, I suggest. Come back next week. It's going to get just better and better. And tell anyone you know, and if there is anyone you know that you think would benefit, time to kind of get in fast so that they get into the thing before it all fills up. That's it, and that's all. Bless you, and bye-bye.